1. Make a list of all of your debts, including the creditor, interest rate, and minimum monthly payment. The first step in paying off your debts is to get a clear understanding of what you owe. Make a list of all of your debts, including the creditor, interest rate, and minimum monthly payment. This will help you see the full picture of your debts and understand the terms of each one. Include all types of debt on your list, such as credit card debt, student loan debt, and mortgage debt. You may also want to include any debts that are in collections or have been charged off by creditors. It's important to be as accurate and thorough as possible when making your list. Don't leave anything out, even if you're feeling overwhelmed or embarrassed. The more you know about your debts, the better equipped you'll be to create a plan to pay them off. 2. Rank your debts from highest interest rate to lowest. Once you have a complete list of your debts, it's time to rank them from highest interest rate to lowest. Interest is the cost of borrowing money, and it's expressed as a percentage of the amount you borrow. The higher the interest rate, the more expensive your debt is. By ranking your debts from highest interest rate to lowest, you can prioritize which debts to pay off first. This is because the debt with the highest interest rate is costing you the most money, so it makes sense to tackle it first. For example, if you have a credit card with an interest rate of 20% and a student loan with an interest rate of 5%, it would make more financial sense to focus on paying off the credit card first. That's because the interest on the credit card is much higher, and you'll save more money by paying it off sooner. 3. Pay as much as you can towards the debt with the highest interest rate while making the minimum payments on your other debts. Now that you've ranked your debts from highest interest rate to lowest, it's time to start paying them off. The most effective way to pay off your debts is to use the debt avalanche method. This means paying as much as you can towards the debt with the highest interest rate while making the minimum payments on your other debts. By focusing on the debt with the highest interest rate first, you'll save the most money in the long run. That's because you'll be paying less in interest over time, which means more of your payments will go towards paying down the principal balance of your debt. It's important to make the minimum payments on your other debts to avoid late fees and damage to your credit score. But don't be afraid to put as much money as possible towards the debt with the highest interest rate. The more you can pay, the faster you'll be able to pay it off and move on to the next debt on your list. 4. Once the debt with the highest interest rate is paid off, move on to the next highest interest rate debt and repeat the process. Once you've paid off the debt with the highest interest rate, it's time to move on to the next highest interest rate debt. Continue making the minimum payments on your other debts and focus on paying off the next highest interest rate debt as quickly as possible. By following this process, you'll be able to pay off your debts in the most efficient way possible. You'll save money on interest and be able to pay off your debts faster. 5. Don't take on any new debt while paying off your existing debts. While you're working on paying off your debts, it's important to avoid taking on any new debt. This means not using your credit cards or borrowing money from any other sources. Taking on new debt will only add to your existing debts and make it harder to pay them off. It's important to focus on paying off your existing debts before you start incurring more debt. 6. Consider consolidating your debts to reduce the number of creditors you have and potentially lower your interest rates. If you have multiple debts with different creditors, it may be helpful to consider consolidating your debts. Debt consolidation is the process of combining multiple debts into one loan with a single creditor. There are several benefits to consolidating your debts. First, it can reduce the number of creditors you have, which can make it easier to manage your debts. Second, it can potentially lower your interest rates, which can save you money over time. There are several options for consolidating your debts, including balance transfer credit cards, home equity loans, and personal loans. It's important to compare your options and choose the one that best meets your needs. 7. If you're having trouble making your minimum payments, reach out to your creditors and see if they can offer any assistance. If you're having trouble making your minimum payments, don't be afraid to reach out to your creditors and ask for help. Many creditors are willing to work with borrowers who are experiencing financial difficulties. Options for assistance can include lowering your interest rate, extending your repayment term, or providing a temporary hardship plan. It's important to be honest and upfront with your creditor about your financial situation. They may be able to offer you a solution that can help you get back on track. 8. Consider cutting back on non-essential expenses and redirecting that money towards paying off your debts. If you are struggling to make your minimum payments, it may be helpful to cut back on non-essential expenses and redirect that money towards paying off your debts. This could include things like dining out, subscription services, or unnecessary shopping. By cutting back on these types of expenses, you can free up more money to put towards your debts. This can help you pay off your debts faster and save money on interest. 9. If you have assets that you can sell, consider using the proceeds to pay off your debts. If you have assets that you can sell, such as a car, jewelry, or electronics, consider using the proceeds to pay off your debts. Selling assets can provide a quick and easy way to pay down your debts and get ahead. It's important to weigh the pros and cons before selling any assets. While it can be a helpful way to pay off your debts, it's also important to consider whether you'll need the asset in the future and whether you'll be able to replace it if you sell it. 10. If your debts are overwhelming and you are unable to make progress on your own, consider seeking the help of a financial counselor or bankruptcy attorney. If your debts are overwhelming and you are unable to make progress on your own, it may be helpful to seek the help of a financial counselor or bankruptcy attorney. Financial counselors are professionals who can help you understand your financial situation and create a plan to pay off your debts. They can provide guidance on budgeting, saving, and debt repayment, and can help you explore options such as debt consolidation and credit counseling. If your debts are severely overwhelming and you are unable to pay them off, bankruptcy may be an option. Bankruptcy is a legal process that allows individuals or businesses to have their debts forgiven or restructured. It's important to understand that bankruptcy can have serious consequences, including damaging your credit score and making it more difficult to borrow money in the future. It's important to carefully consider all of your options before seeking the help of a financial counselor or bankruptcy attorney. They can provide valuable guidance and help you make informed decisions about your financial situation. 11. Most importantly, be patient and persistent. Paying off debt can be a long and difficult process, but it's worth it in the end to be debt-free and in control of your financial future. Paying off debt can be a long and difficult process, but it's important to be patient and persistent. It may take months or even years to pay off your debts, but it's worth it in the end to be debt-free and in control of your financial future. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.